Now this presentation is a small presentation, and simply to explain you that the data which you have just seen in the previous presentation, how to interpret the data. Up to now we have done it about data presentation in the form of tabular format, in the form of diagrams, in the form of graphs also. But what the data is saying, that we are not discussing in length. So then I thought that let me take a small portion, so that it will help you in understanding that how the data is telling us the salient feature, what it contains. So and if you just remember, in the last few sessions we have discussed about cross table, we have discussed about contingency table, we have discussed about bivariate frequency distribution table, and more or less both are same, is nothing. And the only thing is, for categorical data you cannot go beyond than one range. That is, you cannot do more mathematical operation onto that which you can do it on numerical data. So today discussion I am limited to only categorical data, and we know that the variables are of two types: categorical data or numerical data. And so data which is presented in the form of table, it is known as contingency table or cross table. So once again I will repeat it, that you cannot do much more mathematics, or you cannot go beyond a certain limit for the categorical data in comparison to numerical data. And otherwise, preparing a contingency table or cross table, one and the same thing, or bivariate frequency distribution table is same thing. Creation of that procedure is same, no changes. But due to the category, due to the type of variable, our limitations are there. So let's take one case study of side by side bar chart. That will show it that how it shows the variation in much better way. That we have the data. These are the data. I can say they are the 4% who retires from their job and they got certain money. Now what they feel that maybe it is a total person one receive 288,000 of rupees. So that unit I am keeping it with you, that you can think of yourself. I am taking the smaller unit, and person 1, out of this 288,000 of rupees what he received, he thought that let 82,000 he should invest in share market, 95 he should invest in post office, 25 he should invest in LIC scheme, and 86 he should invest in bank scheme. Because each investment plan is having its own risk as well as its own benefit. Similarly, person 2 has decided that 150, 25 and 0 and 59. Person 30 is 3, 26 in share market, 102, 98, 65, and person 4, 11, 85, 61 and 104. So this data shows that how these 4 people had decided to invest their money into the market, into the 4 schemes, and each scheme is having its own benefit, each scheme is having its own profit or its own losses. For example, the share market. In share market, one can say it is a matter of chance. At what time, at what period you require the money back, that is very difficult in the share market. Sometime in share market you will have a very good return, very high return, which is not possible in any of the scheme. But probably when you require the money, Nobody knows that what will be the market situation, what will be the economic situation of the country or economic condition of the market. You will get back your original invested money or not. Similarly, post office scheme, although it has a some you can say your money is saved and have a better return, but again percentage wise a return is less. And similarly, life insurance schemes which give you certain guarantee which post office scheme is not giving. So similarly, banks, they are having number of schemes at fixed deposit, etc. So people are investing upon their choices. So let's create a bar side by side bar diagram. Now this shows clearly. Now this is a small data, less data, but a person is investing in more schemes, then you have a more bars, and now you can conclude very easily, that is person number 2, he has invested maximum in share market and he has not invested anything in LIC scheme. Just see. And while person number 1 and person number 3, they are more or less on the same scale. The exception is in one scheme person 1 has invested more and the person 3 has invested less. And similarly person 4, yes, he is also in the same cup, or he is also invested very less, but person number 2 or person number 3, they are more or less reasonable, because they feel that they have divided their amount in such a way that even if a share market losses are there, so person number 3 and person number 4, their damage will be very less, and but person number 1 has taken little bit risk, more risk, because they are having more money in comparison to other them. Let's see, yes, 288. So he is more or less have the same money which person number 3 is having, but more money is having person number 4 is having. So he is playing a safe game, that is if he invested in share market, so if the profit comes out, if something in a future, if he needs the money, then he can get back from the money from post office, LIC scheme or bank scheme. So he will not touch his share market money. So share market money, he is watching the share, and once that share will be on the peak, then he can get more money back. While person number 3 and person number 4, they are playing very safe game. They don't believe in more share market and they feel that it is a risky game. So only some amount they will invest so that they can bear the risk or they can bear the loss if it occurs at any stage. But person number 2 is very much clear that yes, he has invested most of his money into share market. Either he is expert in share market business, or he is having very good knowledge of share market, or maybe he is having a very good confidence. So that's how you can say by bar diagram. So this data side by side bar diagram and tell us and compare us this categorical data very easily, and we are in a better position to interpret into that. So we can say we are having the investment trend by the different person, and one can hope that in future it may be more. Next, come to the scatter plot. This point which we missed it, but I intentionally have not covered in my previous lecture because I kept it at the end only to show the power of reading the data from your diagrams. Now this scatter plot, it is used for representing the numerical values, numerical variables, two numerical variables that it will show us. And then in each, here we are plotting all the values in the form of dot on x-axis and y-axis. So in each dot present the value related to a particular value of a variable. So that is a dot which we are presenting. And scatter plot is one of the best method when we are having very voluminous data, a big voluminous data, then it is a scatter plot is one of the best. Otherwise the other may not able to convey us what the data is saying. We see that how the scatter data conveys a lot of things to us. So any data point or value which is far away from logic of the whole data set, we declare it as a outlier. So we can easily find out that which data belongs to this particular attribute, particular character or not, or particular group or not. Let's see. Now hopefully when your exams will be there, then you know that in planning you have two major things, theory papers and studio papers. Let me take your all theory papers are out of 500 marks, and all studio is also 500 marks, because studio is heavily weighted, because it is a practical science. So practical science studio has to be given a more weightage, and these are the marks which are obtained by the different students, 30 students in theory as well as in studio out of 500. And you know that passing marks are for 40%. So T201 is the minimum one student has got it, that is 3, student roll number 3. Otherwise most of the students are in a comfortable zone. Now we plot a scatter plot, that is this marks, and will be presented in the form of dot. Let's see how. On the x-axis we have taken theory marks. This is a bivariate presentation, my dear, don't forget. And these are the studio marks, theory marks and studio marks. So being a bivariate presentation, so now this dots are telling us how many marks are being obtained by the student. If this student approximately 200 marks in studio and about 240 in between theory marks. So let's how he is obtained. Definitely it will be 216 is the minimum one, because gap is 250, so it is very less, touching that. Now you can see I've just put it, I want to see what is the trend of this marks, how these marks are increasing or decreasing. Yes, it is showing me the trend, that their trend shows that it is in the increasing format. So it is a linear type format, increasing format, and most of the marks are near to this straight line. If we try to fix up a straight line, we can be this is the best straight line we can fit it to this data. So the performance of our second semester student, we are presenting it, and then we are focusing it, and we are able to find out the trend of the marks. Now next is the performance which you are mapping it. We put it into one box. We can straightforward, we can say everybody is more or less able to get more than 250 marks in theory marks, and in studio marks is 300. Studio marks it is about 240 or 2 something. Sorry, here is this is 201. Sorry, where is that 201? Yes, this student number 3, which is 201. So maximum mark in studio 428, this person has got it, and 201 marks minimum marks this student has got it. Similarly in theory 246 marks is being obtained by this student, and 410 marks being obtained by this student. In this way we can see the performance of the students, minimum and maximum value, how they are getting it. Next, Now this student, we can say, can we declare this outlier? This student feels is little bit away from the rest of the marks, like this. Now I think this will be more comfortable. Now just see, this group of people are getting almost all the marks in this group, similar group, but this student is little bit away from that. So can we say this is the outlier? Statistically we can say, but as for the teacher, as for the student, it is a matter of concern. Now this data is communicating what? Maximum marks in studio 428 out of 500 is not a joke. In theory, out of 500, 410. And similarly, minimum marks in theory 246 you are getting it, but studio it is 210. So it means that this boy or girl requires a special attention. So it may be something is missing, maybe it's understanding or some problem, personal problem. So for the teacher point of view, he can say, now this group of people are almost within the same range, within near less or more within a 10, 20, 30 marks range are there. So I can say that all are progressing. Somebody may not be, everybody will not be on the topper line, but somebody will be in the middle and somebody will be in the lower part. But this is a little bit away from this group, so it needs a special attention. Why in the studio he is able to score it? So it means the attention is to be given to this student in the next semester, so that he should not score poorly in studio, because studio presentation is being done in the front of external examiner, and those external examiners are one of the you can say those people who can provide the job. Theory marks, yes, it is a you can remember, your memory power is strong and then you can earn more marks, but studio is only a performance. So by this analysis, faculty very easily can find out, easily can take a decision, should we go or should we pay more attention to this boy or not. That's how the scatter diagram is telling us, is communicating us. And in place of this is a 30 student, if the 300 students are also there, still we are able to analyze it, how the data is focused, how the data is concentrated, where is the concentration of the data. That's how we can say you can present it your scatter diagram and help us in understanding the data. Now we can easily say this group is the highest marks taker group, 5 students are there, and this group is a middle class mediocre, and where so many people are there, and this group is a little bit weaker section. So it means I had to take care in future, in the next semester, this student in next semester must jump from this circle to this circle at least. So that's how that if I divide it into the whole data into like this circle, so diagrammatically I am very much comfortable and understand that who is getting how many marks and what are their performance. And it is not only 1 student, 2 student, 3 student, 4 student. This is a group of students. I have to focus onto this group of students. My strategy, my teaching method or my approach towards the student will be, for this group will be different because I have to upgrade them. For this student is to different because I have to upgrade further to them, and this students I have to take care of that they should not go down. So they should not become so proud that now we are the topper, so we should enjoy our life. So I have to take care of that. So accordingly the teacher can check the performance of the student as well as can take a serious decision about the student activities as well as his course content. And because you just see that we are just about talking of the outlier, his studio marks are less. If his theory marks are less, if this fall under here in this category, then I should have checked theory marks of all the papers. So which paper is not able to understand properly? Is it a planning oriented paper, designing oriented paper, mathematical oriented paper, or engineering oriented paper? Maybe the architect may not able to do good in engineering type of theory class, or engineer may not able to perform well in the designing type of activities, maybe. So then I can focus, then I can go on dividing the theory paper, 5 papers. So what are the performance of the 5 paper? So but in the studio I can now, I will go and check that in the studio, that there are studio 3 or 2 studio or 3 studio, 3 exercise or 2 exercise are there. So in which exercise he is not able to score well, or it seems that this person demonstrated very poor marks in all the 3 studio or all the 2 studios. So it means something has to be done to this guy. So that's how we can able to conclude our data presentation. This small presentation I simply given to you to simply listen what the data is saying. Simply listen. Data is telling us its story and you have to listen it. Okay. By this we can say thank you very much. Thanks for listening to me.